This video is for entertainment purposes only. So one of the first projects I'm going to do is I'm going to change the rear drive oil on it. And to start out with, I'm going to take the bike down the road and kind of warm it up a little bit, get the oil moving in it, maybe warm the gear oil up a little bit so it comes out a little easier. So we'll be right back. Okay, we're back from the ride. And the first thing I want to say is I'm not a professional motorcycle mechanic, so if you attempt to do this yourself, you're doing it at your own risk. One of the things I did is I bought a repair manual online. I bought it on eBay. And normally these are pretty expensive, you know, you're probably right around the $50, $60 area. But I found this used one pretty cheap. And so I picked that up. That's going to give you all the procedures, and it's going to give you the torque specs. So when you're putting the stuff back together, you can torque all the nuts and bolts to the right tightness. And we'll move up here and we can see this is the rear drive here. And let me zoom in a little bit. Sorry about that. That was a little fast. And this is really an easy procedure here. You basically have your drain plug right here. And that's where we're going to start draining the oil. So I got my drain pan underneath, and I'm just going to take the bolt out. And we'll let it drain. Now this stuff kind of stinks. Gear Lube does, so I think I'm going to go grab some gloves. And now we'll take the fill bolt out. And we'll set that aside. Now one thing I like to do is whenever I drain any fluids, I like to look at the fluid, and that'll kind of tell you a little story. If you've got a lot of metal filings inside, you may have some issues. And so whenever I do an oil change or any fluid change, I always like to look at the fluid and see if I can see any signs of excessive wear through metal filings or metal shavings. So I'll grab myself a LED flashlight with a nice bright white light, and if you've got metal filings in there, they're gonna really shine. You'll be able to see them really well in the light, and it looks like we're doing pretty good here. So now it's time to fill it with Gear Lube, and I'm using this Pro Honda shaft drive oil, high point gear oil, and it's actually kind of convenient. It comes with this little spout here, and you just fill it in the top port here, and so I'm just gonna squeeze it in, and mine takes 4.1 ounces. But the one way that you can also tell if you have enough in is the level should be right at the bottom of the fill port here. Yeah, it looks like we got some birds visiting us here. And so I can see the level here has just come right to the very edge here. This is actually a cap too, it's not a bolt. I think I called it a bolt before, but it's a cap. I'm going to make sure my rubber O-ring is still in there. And it's nice and clean. There's no dirt on it. I can see them right up to the edge here, so we just put the fill cap back on, and then we're going to torque this down. And I'm not going to give you the torque specs because I don't know, your bike might be different if you decide to do it than mine, and so it's best off if you just look yours up. Okay, so we have that torqued, we have the bottom bolt torqued, and that's about all there is to it. So it's a very simple job. So I hope you enjoyed watching that. I know it's not very exciting, but I tried to make it as exciting as I could. but it really is a pretty simple job. So I should be probably good for another, what, 16,000 miles or whatever the interval is in changing it. I guess I haven't looked in the book, but I'll write it down. I'll write down the date, the mileage, so I can remember further on down the road when it comes time to change it again. All right, time to do an oil change.